Generic greetings. I often get asked which of the YouTubers am I subscribed to, who would I recommend, and which ones do I watch on a fairly regular basis. Well, the fact is that changes pretty much daily for a myriad of reasons. Either I'm bored of what they're doing, or they've started another series, or stopped the one that I was currently watching, or maybe I'm just not bothered in what they're doing, or I found another channel. It could be any number of reasons, but what I want to do is run down the current top 20, so the ones that I always make sure I'm in the loop of what they're doing, not necessarily watch all of their videos, but certainly make sure I know what they're putting out to see if I want to check it out. Then maybe do another list which is like notable mentions, but this is certainly not an exhaustive list. I've got over 100 people on my subscription list, so it's certainly not possible to run through every single one. And as I said, this is only accurate as of the time of recording, so one of the things I hope is going to come out of this video is that you're going to see the sort of things I'm currently interested in, and then suggest alternatives or similar people or things you might think I might want to check out. By all means, put them in the comments there. Even if you've got your own channel or want to promote yourself or other people, please feel free to put it in this video's comments. I don't mind at this point. This video is all about sharing the love. Also, just for the sake of full disclosure, my association/relationship with the channel or people is involved starts and ends at I'm a fan of some of what they do and watch their videos. That's it. I'm not in business with these people. I'm not specifically trying to promote anything. I don't run any gambling websites or anything like that. That would be just insane, wouldn't it? If their hobby is going out tonight to stab kittens with dead puppies, then I don't know. I may or may not share their views or what they've said. Things like that. Their comments are their own, etc. All the boring stuff. Basically, I watch some of their videos. That's it. In fact, for the vast majority of these people, in fact, all but maybe one or two, I haven't even shared so much as a tweet with. Phew, right, we got that over with. So, let's go down the list. It's in alphabetical order, and let's crack on. Oh, and obviously, all of the links for their channels will be in the description. Like, obviously. Right, let's go. Ashens. This is a guy who essentially reviews tat, either from pound shops or whatever people send in to him. He also eats very out-of-date food, which is simultaneously gross, but also very, very amusing. He has a brown sofa, he's got a very dry sense of humour, he's been in other people's sketches and channels as well, and also did Ashens and the Quest for the Game Child, which is like a feature-length movie which you can check out on YouTube. One of the very first people I actually subscribed on YouTube many, many years ago, and has been around quite a long time. Ashens. Boogie2988. This is a guy that most people will know as Francis, or That Fat Raging Guy on YouTube, but he's a lot more than that. He does lots of different sketches, lots of different characters. He also does things like unboxing, and he does some gameplay stuff as well, and he also does more serious videos and topics on physical and mental health, and just general discussions about popular topics and things like that. One of the old hands again at YouTube. He's been on it quite a while, and one of the people that actually made me think, I could probably give this whole thing a go. But Boogie2988, yeah, check him out. Bosnian Bill. This is a guy who essentially lockpicks stuff and does lockpick reviews and things like that and teaches you how to lockpick. I don't know why, but I find his videos really interesting, and this is the sort of thing that YouTube was invented for. Very, very niche things, but has a home. But yeah, I don't know why, but I just do find it interesting watching a guy trying to pick a lock or different challenge locks and things like that. I have no interest in lockpicking really at all, but I don't know, it's interesting nonetheless. CGP Grey is one of those people that is just absurdly talented and puts out videos on pretty much any topic you can imagine and makes it really interesting, and I think he's most well known probably for his politics in the animal kingdom stuff, but he explains sometimes very, very complex topics and puts them into very, very simple terms that even idiots like me can understand, and most importantly makes them entertaining, and they've got really cute animations as well, which obviously also helps. Cinemassacre. Most people will know the channel because of the angry video game nerd, but there's a lot more to it than that. There's also things like old movie reviews and talking about games and just general playthroughs and talks about whatever subject and things like that. There's also board games, which I think started off as essentially him and a couple of mates playing board games, and then devolved into some weird semi-horror type thing that's just really, really, really strange. Mr. Bucket, you just have to watch it. Just trust me. Either way, one of the oldest, probably the oldest person that I'm subscribed to, not physically as in age-wise, but I think the channel's over 10 years old now, so one of the originals on YouTube, and certainly one of the oldest ones that I can remember watching. I think it was on Game Trailers or something like that, but yeah, Cinemassacre. A lot more than AVGN, but all those videos still on there, and they're all good. Colin Furs is pretty much Englishness personified, because it's a guy that drinks loads of tea in a shed and makes stuff. So he makes pulse jet go-karts, drift bikes, hover bikes, underground bunkers, weird doorbells, a turkey spinner cookery type thing. He just makes pretty much anything you can imagine. It's all weird. Thermite launchers, X-Men stuff, and I just love watching some normal guy build stuff in his shed. There's something very, very, very quaint and also quite scary about it. Danuked1 is a guy who I wouldn't say reviews viruses, malware, and trojans, but essentially takes a machine that's completely healthy and fine and then infects it on purpose to show you what it did, and also explains where the trojan or worm or whatever came about and when it actually appeared, where it generally came from, how it spreads and goes through the history of it and what damage it may have caused and all of that sort of thing. Again, more interesting because the commentator knows a lot about it and explains different things, and again, niche as well. That's what I like about this thing. You really couldn't find a home for this elsewhere, but because of YouTube, it has a home, and a quite healthy one at that. But yeah, if you want to see someone infect machines with viruses on purpose, check them out. Flabaliki, otherwise known as Mr. James Turner, is, and it's quite unfair for me to call him this, but essentially the only standard Let's Player on this list. He's more than that, but we'll get to that later on. But the thing is, because I'm involved in this world anyway, because I essentially make Let's Play videos or something close to it, essentially what I do, I find it immensely boring watching other people just play games. I mean, it's different if it's a review or a deconstruction of a game and its mechanics or the history of it, something like that, something more. But if it's just someone playing a game for X amount of hours, then I get bored very easily. So it takes something special for me to A, keep an eye on a channel that does that, and B, something even more special for me to actually watch a lot of their videos as well. And the reason I think I watch Flabaliki's channel is because he essentially does things very similar to the way I do it. So very, very long playthroughs, long videos where, like, 40 minutes plus long, takes comments and feedback, suggestions, etc. to improve the build, and does planning and things like that. So very, very similar in the way we do things. The main problem is that he generally is better than me at everything that he does, which is like infuriating when you're watching it going, damn it, I wish I actually did that. That's a great idea. I'm going to nick it. And but as I said, it's quite annoying watching someone who has better ideas, better planning strategy, and executes all of these things in a much more interesting and efficient way than you perhaps might do as well. He's got other channels. He's got The Sim Supply, which, if you couldn't have guessed, is about The Sims, and he's also got a vlogging channel as well, I believe. And he's just a nice bloke, which accounts for a lot as well. But either way, Flabaliki, give him a go. Lazy Game Reviews, greetings, essentially does a lot, actually does quite a lot. Some of it's like nostalgia stuff, some of it is like thrift store going throughs and old technology. What I like is his Oddware series, where he goes through for example, an old 80s or 90s pinball controller and says, right, here's a pinball controller that's really, really horrible creaky plastic, let's play Doom on it, and those are quite good. He also goes through the history of certain technology as well, so it's quite a variety of stuff, obviously all gaming related, but I do really like pretty much all of his videos that he's done, and it's interesting looking at all of like the old tech he's got, and really, really jealous of the massive wall of big box copies that I just don't have. But Lazy Game Reviews, I don't know why it's called Lazy Game Reviews, either, because he puts a lot of bloody effort into it. Mark Brown does the Game Maker's Toolkit, which is essentially a deconstruction or analysis of a certain game's systems or mechanics, or why X decision was made, or what work and doesn't work, things like that. It's not just like, this is a game and is it good or bad, it's more, here's a game, this system in it, why does it work, why were certain choices made, here's a bit of history on it, and what does it do to the overall effect. If you want to get into more the critical analysis of games and understand why certain things and certain decisions are made, then I would recommend you check this out. Number one stop for that sort of thing. And again, this could be really, really boring if it was in someone else's hands, if it was just a guy going, so here's a game, we're going to check out why it works. It's actually a lot more interesting and very relatable, and yeah, if you want to delve in that sort of thing, then I would highly recommend you check his stuff out. Nostalgia Nerd is actually the newest channel on this list. It's something that I've been pretty much binge watching over the last couple of weeks. He does, looks at all different things. He's very interested in the specky and old games like the Commodore 64 and pretty much any old games or old hardware, things like that. Looks at games and things like what's on this floppy disk. Like finds an old floppy disk and checks it out and things like that, and looks at old games and systems and things like that, and anything nostalgia-y, if that's a term. But either way, really enjoying what I've been watching so far on the channel. Like I said, I've been pretty much binge watching the entire thing. Quite I don't know if it's a new channel, but certainly not as big as a lot of the other channels that I've recently gone through. But if you want to look at like old hardware, software, old piece of technology, and just random assortment of nostalgia-inducing stuff, then give him a go. Have you ever seen a video where a guy flings a brick into a washing machine and it jumps around the garden? Well, the original guy was photonic induction. He's essentially a bit of a mad professor type guy who does loads of experiments on different pieces of electrical equipment, either household or industrial, things like that, talks about electrics and things like that, and generally just blows stuff up and has a lot of fun, and that's just good to watch. Not exactly the most sane character that I've seen, but it makes for good viewing, certainly. Also does old technology as well, like mercury arc rectifiers and things like that, so it is education as well as fun watching a kettle explode in 10 seconds. Primitive Technology is a guy that never speaks, wandering around collecting resources, and ends up making things like mud and straw huts, makes charcoal, different furnaces, and how to plant, protect and gather crops, essentially living off the wilds. And it's really, really interesting to see the craftsmanship that goes into this. It must take bloody ages, unless the whole thing, after he's stopped filming, then collapses into a cardboard set, which I very much doubt it, but it's very different, and I'm actually glad that he doesn't speak. I mean, I'm not saying that in any derogative way. What I'm saying is that it makes you focus on what he's actually doing, such as making fire pits and things like that, and take note. But either way, I never really seen anything like that on YouTube, and the videos, you don't get a lot of them. They do tend to be quite spread out, so you can probably binge watch it in just a short amount of time. But very, very good stuff. Techon is a normal guy, and this is very important, a normal guy that does videos on technology, whether it be new or old, so either reviews on dashcam, CCTV, cooking equipment, or just taking a look at old hi-fi equipment and other retro tech that's really, really interesting. And this is the point. If it was some like massive professional, some audiophile that really, really likes speakers, they would spend 20 minutes talking to you about all of the impedance on a certain wire and blah, blah, blah. But no, what Techon does, he goes, right, I got this speaker because it was on sale, it looks good, it fitted the space, and it sounds alright. Job done. What else do you actually need? I mean, I'm not some sort of massive, like, audio guy. I really don't really care for that sort of thing, but his videos make it interesting, and pretty much everything he does is interesting because it's relatable to a human and not some sort of computer that just cares about specs. Also, he's got Muppets as well, which is really interesting, and some of the stuff he reviews is different, to say the least. I don't know of any other channel that will review a dash cam and then a like a wire recorder from the 60s and then a doorbell, so yeah, it's different and interesting and good. Tested is a bit of a variety channel. I think originally it was more technology reviews, but it's moved over towards things like cosplay production and walking around cons and prop replicas, and Adam Savage is one of the main guys involved now, so he has a workshop and you can see him going around making different things like swords and boxes to store a beaver and all sorts of different really interesting stuff, and you can really tell like everything that he does he's just super enthusiastic about. But it's also not just entertaining. It also tells you a lot and gives you some tips and tricks on how to do certain things. But they also have a podcast as well, and they talk about different stuff and different collections. As I said, it's a bit of a variety, bit of everything, but all interesting. The Ben Heck Show is essentially an electronics genius doing whatever he wants, and most of the time it's turning a console into some sort of portable version. That seems to be the theme on a lot of the videos. He does a lot of other stuff like old technology fixes and checking out different pieces of technology where he'll go through what they are, or even designing his own things. Like I think one of the things he made was a full ZX Spectrum, like built from the board upwards, including the cases, and it shows you like the entire process of designing the board and soldering it and making a case, either 3D printing or whatever. So it's all very, very skilled, and yeah, just jealous on how good this guy actually is. The Mighty Jingles is a middle-aged bearded guy who, when he's not wandering around cons dressed as Judge Dredd or other assorted characters, ends up playing video games really poorly. However, he's never ever boring, and he does a lot of World of Tanks, World of Warships, Armoured Warfare, a lot of other things like that. I mean, I'm a fairly big World of Tanks player. I've got nearly 12,000 games. One of the days I'll actually feature it on the channel. But he does a lot of like replays and shows you what people have sent in, and he also does really fun videos called Why You Have to Be Mad Bro, and also Mingles of Jingles, where he talks about pretty much anything or his time in the Navy, stuff like that. Even though he will be the first to admit he's not exactly the best at video games, which is something I can relate to, he's never boring, which is sort of what you want really, because if he was really crap at video games and boring, then, well, he'd be me. Tom Scott is a guy that does videos on interesting things such as amazing places like the Chernobyl exclusion zone, or a desert with a plant city that was never made, or just talks about interesting factoids or things you may not know, such as a flower that smells like death, or why vinegar is not vinegar, or by the way, there's a river here that when you jump in it'll immediately kill you, or by the way, there's a ship over there with loads of unexploded bombs. Either way, it's all quite random and all interesting, and I must confess, he must be a very talented guy or do a lot of takes, because some of these are long shots and they're all very, very well done. They're all very, very well produced videos. Go give them a check out. Ultra Brilliant does the Other Places videos, which is essentially someone taking a game, maxing out the graphics, or maybe modding it, I'm not sure, and then showing you around the place. Now, I know there's a couple of other YouTube channels that do something like this, but they're more dedicated to, oh my god, look at this max high fidelity leaf. But the Other Places videos show you the more grand scale of it, like the overall theme of the place, how it feels, presented more like a gallery or like a piece of art or something like that. And it's just really beautiful to look at because it's edited so well, and there's always like appropriate music going with it, and it's like the best that I've seen it done yet. And it goes to places like Skyrim and Life is Strange, Dark Souls, Witcher 3, Fallout, things like that, and just takes really nice shots, or even just does like focuses on like rain and just the feeling and ambience of some places. But I haven't really seen it done as good as this. VideoGamerTV is, I was about to say, the only professional people in this bunch, but that's not entirely true, because we've had a lot of professionals up until now, and calling it otherwise would be a disservice. But also, they don't act like that, and I don't mean that in a bad way. What I really mean is that a lot of reviewers will do a video on something and say, yes, well, we're now talking about the sound, and the design is absolutely exquisite. It's 7 out of 10, no problem. You can hear the melody come to climax at 8:40. Bollocks. Absolutely boring. Doesn't interest me. However, when they do a review of a game, especially, they will talk it like one person talking to another mate. So it'll be like, yeah, I played the game, I shot some stuff, it was alright, but there was really bad problems here and I didn't like that, but this was interesting and this is what it invoked in me, blah blah blah, as a normal human would talk to another, which is a lot better than someone trying to review a game like it's a piece of IKEA furniture and the screw holes don't fit. They also do interesting sketches such as, well, they do the Miller Report with Simon Miller, they do Your Old Dad, they do Tamaglish, things like that. But they're really the only sort of big bunch that I really follow, especially when it comes to games reviews and stuff, because it is just the normal, if that makes any sense, the normal, which, what do I know about that? But either way, yeah, I always check them out, pretty much everything they do. So there we are, that is the current top 20-ish list. I say ish because I don't know exactly if it's 20 or not. List of all of the channels that I will follow almost every day and see what they're producing. Might not necessarily watch all of the videos, but at least keep an eye out to see what they're doing. There's some notable ones that I haven't got through, such as CinemaSins, Cool Ghosts, Did You Know Gaming, Electro Boom, Every Frame a Painting, Fail Army, Flash Gates, Fully Charged Show, Geek and Sundry, Grant Thompson, The King of Random, Hydraulic Press Channel, Jim Sterling, Nerdcube, Pat the NES Punk, Periodic Videos, Quickie Baby, Rodal Core 2007, Screen Junkies, Tom Scar, and Total Biscuit. And there's a lot more. As I said, I've got over about 100 people on the subscription list, so I can't certainly go through them all. But either way, that is a list of what I'm currently interested in, by all means, and I would love you to post in the comments the sort of things you are interested in and the sort of things you think I might be interested in, the things I maybe have missed. And, you know, obviously I've gone through these. If you think, oh, well, he likes that, he might like this as well, by all means post it there. If you would like to also post your own channel there, I don't mind at all. Please promote yourself. That is no harm, no foul at all. Phew, this video was actually a lot shorter than I thought it would be. I should probably ramble on for another 20 minutes now just to bring it up to channel average. No, that's not going to happen. Either way, I hope you check these people out. Like I said, links in the description so you can check them out. And one thing I will ask is that I don't want to be seen as going to poach their subscribers. That's not why I did this video. So by all means, if you go and check them out, and I hope you do, please don't be spamming all of their chats with, oh, so-and-so sent me here and go and check them out, blah, blah. I mean, it's completely up to you what you do, but I ask that you don't do that because that's just not good for their channel or mine. It just doesn't help anybody out. Either way, hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and generic partings.